We got a countdown. Welcome. Over the Top Sports Podcast. The Over the Top Sports Podcast is the ideas of a couple of brothers and young ladies, a group of us who love sports and want to give our take on different subject matters. We have again with us RJ. What's up, buddy?
What's going on? How you doing, champ?
I'm doing good. We got our boy Q. What you up, dude? Q, what's going on with you?
Life's going on. What's going on?
Life. And B Franks, how you doing there, sir?
What's happening? How y'all doing?
I'm gonna start with you a little bit, B Frank. I know this. I just thought about it. What's going on with them Tar Heels this year? What them Tar Heels looking like this year? What we doing?
Man, well, for me, I got them on punishment, so I won't watch.
Why is that?
I don't know.
The team young or just not working out? Or?
No, I know what's going on with the Tar Heels.
I think it's leadership. I think it's
they got the Duke shit.
This clown. And I can't even talk. You know, let me just say this. I want to address no Duke questions after last year. They absolutely made the Duke and UNC rivalry irrelevant after last year. So I don't even address that anymore. It's just a basketball game now.
Yeah. So do you think they gonna make a run, or you think they done for the year? And
no, they done.
They done.
I think it's just much going on the team. I think Love is part of the problem, and also Nance. He never worked out. Nance hasn't shown up all year. So
okay.
Nah.
Moreno, you a Georgetown fan, ain't you? You a Hoya, ain't you?
100% Georgetown, and I rock with Maryland too as well. I hate they left the ACC, but yeah, straight Georgetown, and it's really bad right now.
I mean, you talking about Duke, Q? What Duke ain't ranked neither, are they?
No, but all the players that we normally get are pros.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Whether it be in the G League, overtime a league, overseas.
It was something that was really dope that just popped up on my phone though. In my, you know how like you get a Gmail alert every now and again.
Mm-hmm.
And dang man, I can't see it, but it talked about why some of the blue blood basketball programs are having a hard time fielding great teams, and I think a lot of it is chemistry, man. I think a lot of it is like when you start thinking about like the great teams that we've seen, even in the last probably about 10, 15 years, going all the way back to like Kentucky making the super teams, you're not necessarily seeing a collective group of guys that really come together to play. It's become a business decision, man. And I think with it becoming a business decision, some of those guys are not mentally, how can I put it, mature enough to make that business decision to come together to work together, because there's still a lot of egos from the AAU circuit. That AAU circuit is really kind of toxic for some of them cats, so it's really tough.
I think that I'm not. I know Bash shaking his head. I'm not there with the AAU, so I know he is. I'm letting him talk on it. I think a lot of it that college sports has become the subway. It is the train track from high school to pro. I mean, you don't have time to build chemistry. How do you have time to build chemistry if you want it done?
Well,
but Bash, speak on the AAU circuit a little bit. I know you had a little experience with that circuit. Speak on that a little bit.
I mean, to me, one of the biggest problems is, you know, you're dealing with kids and they're getting to play in the AAU circuit and they're getting all this exposure. And so the teams that's usually on top, the UNCs, the Kentuckys, and I guess you could say Duke, I'm not sure, but anyway, when those teams are used to being on top, they're used to getting the caliber of players, and once the one and done happen, first, you know, coaches got to buy into it. And
Mm-hmm.
one thing I loved about Carolina is they stuck to their guns. And for a while, even Coach K stuck to his guns. Then he bought into it before Carolina did, before North Carolina did. He bought into the one and done kid, and that's really tainting the sport, because now look, when the last time you saw Purdue #1 in the nation in basketball, or even
Right.
Alabama that high? Because these kids are taking, they're taking the quickest route they can go, and the coaches those coaches
Alabama's
are young
ranked
coaches in their setup, in their
Alabama's ranked number 2 right now.
Their programs are not built on it. They're just built on now. When you're talking about Carolina, Kentucky, and Duke, you're talking about programs that's been built on. They can stand on their own. When you bring
Let me ask you,
that's royal.
well, let me ask you this: does it so now, and I'm gonna throw a different question. I know it's not on the agenda, guys. We're just kind of rolling with it, but I'm gonna throw a different question out at you. Doesn't that, so because of you got the one and done, so you don't get the superior talent that's there in the college basketball, but does that make it more competitive for your mid majors? It may not be much watch TV, but does it make college basketball more competitive on the mid major side? Because nobody's a superstars now, because you superstars are out of it. I'm gonna go through that one, Q. Do you think that makes it more competitive or no?
There's actually a lot more people who watch college basketball than NBA basketball. They prefer to watch college basketball, almost for that reason. It's all the same competition level, so that all makes good basketball. No one's that much better than everybody, at least in the men's side. On the women's side, there's always your top 4 teams and then the rest. So on the men's side, everybody's competitive. Let me go back and look at this. I was just looking at the standings. Yeah, all the standings they're all close together. Houston at 25-2, Alabama 23-4, Kansas 22-5. They're all close together. No team is like with that 2014 Kentucky, where it's that team and then everybody else.
It's just weird not seeing your blue bloods. It's weird not seeing your Kentucky's, your Dukes, and your UNC run. What do you think? Is that because
the only blue blood in
the
top 3 is Kansas?
What do you think, bro? Is that a detriment? Is that a detriment to the people, to the one and done, or is it good basketball to you? Is it much watched to you?
I think it's definitely a aspect of the one and done. When you start looking at the one and done, it really did create an atmosphere of not looking at teams. Because when you think about like teams, you think about going back to when we were young enough to really kind of watch basketball and process it. 82, the Jordan, the Georgetown teams, man. The Big East sent 3 teams to the daggone Final Four. Man, those conferences were bloodbaths. And then you you move forward, you go to a time where DC comes into school and the Big East was just like absolutely dominant, and then the ACC kind of had a resurgence. Now you're talking about guys with this one and done, and then also, I think one of the things that's really impacting, you get a lot of like how could I put it, early bloomers. I seen this kid Seven Woods some years ago on like a mixtape or a cut up, and the guy I know who was coaching him was Kevin Graves, and he was like, "Yeah, man, this kid an animal." And the doctor, my children's pediatrician, said something that was real deep. He said, "Man, that kid, man," and he's a Carolina like graduate. He said that kid is great. He said, "Man, but when he gets to college, he's going to be limited." And I was like, "Why, doc?" I said, "Man, he's 14 years old. He's jumping out the gym. He's doing this." He said, "Man, he's already hit his athletic prime, Ron." And when I looked at him, I said, "Dang, doc." He said, "So a lot of these kids that you're seeing, they've actually matured by the time they hit like college, and their ceiling is so low, they can't max out. They can't go any higher. So that's why you see those guys that work and they practice harder. They come a lot further than those guys that top out in AAU. You know, some of those guys hit their prime about 14, 15. And after that, that's it. There's no room for growth.
You shaking here with that, Bell? Get in there. What you say? You agreeing with that, or is that something that you seen personally, or?
I mean, oh yeah, you see it. We see it even right now when you look at like Zion Williamson, for example. This guy is dealing with injury after injury in the league right now. Everybody wanting to see him play, wanting to see him take over. But here's the biggest question: what happens in year 10? In year 10, he's going to be closer to retirement than he is the year 15. If you get what I'm saying, he in the summertime he's playing. He's probably played close to 100 games, and a bunch of those games were probably just didn't mean anything. You know what I'm saying? But he was on the court. He got exposure and all that. These kids are putting way more miles on their legs. They're putting the injuries are piling up. Last year, the young lady I was dating, her daughter tore her ACL, and me and the doctor was talking, and she was like, the doctor was like, I'm seeing this like every week. Kids coming through the door with ACL tears. Man, we were coming along, we didn't know nothing about an ACL. If that happened, that happened in our school sport. That didn't happen during the summer. We played all the time. But these kids are getting hurt faster, and they're expected to recover and come back. So
is that responsible with our parents? Is it because we start them so early, or is there responsibility on parents start them so early? I mean, I know now, if you see a kid 8, 9 years old, and he built the football, you don't do nothing but football, and that kills me.
I think it's the training. I think it's the training. Like, one of the guys that I work with, he used to say, man, he used to do some workouts with kids, man, and well, Bill, you probably remember this kid, Harry Giles, that played at UNC. Harry had, he got to Carolina, but he didn't do what people thought he would do when he got there. But a good player, but I don't know. One of my other friends felt like it was the workout regimen that he was doing was affecting his body. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's the workouts, man. Honestly, I think to a certain degree it's the workouts. Like, you got to prepare yourself, but it's also a right way and a wrong way to do it. And everybody's a daggone expert now. And some of them guys don't know what the hell they doing. And everything for everybody's body. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Everything for everybody's body.
Keep jumping. What you want to say, B? Go ahead. Keep jumping here. Do you think the year? Go ahead, B. Go ahead. Go ahead.
The reality of it is, if all these AAU coaches or wherever, I always say summer ball now because there's so many different things going on. With all these coaches, if they just be honest with themselves and look at it, it's just entirely too much right now. It's just entirely, like, my daughter, she's going through it right now. And like last summer, I watched her have one weekend a month off, just one weekend, and I felt like that was too much. To me, if you play the important events, if you play the exposure events where coaches are, you have a good tournament, if you do maybe 4 of those, then you should be good. You should be straight, because you're not gonna put too much different out over the course of time and whatnot. These kids are jumping on it, and then it's also, what Nike giving, what Adidas giving, what Under Armour giving. These kids like my daughter played on the night circuit, which is the EBYL last year. I mean, shoes and gear, that stuff comes along with it, and I mean, these kids grabbing it. That's the lure. That's what they want to do. They want the nice stuff, and I just think it just becomes too much after a while.
You know what? What's one of the things that's a real major issue though? It's the charts. It's the measurements. The measurements are killing all sports, in my opinion. If you think about like a John Morant played on the same team that Zion played on, right? Both of them boys from South Carolina. Zion becomes like a top recruit because athletically he matures earlier and he just jumping out of the gym. Ja had to go to Murray State.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at it now, who's having a better career right now?
Zion can't stay healthy, but Ja becoming a beast, but Zion just can't stay healthy.
I'm about to say, if Zion stays healthy, it's Zion easily.
I won't say easily. I won't say because you got people that's rethinking that draft now. Like
they're only rethinking because Zion can't stay healthy, and because Ja makes the game look good.
But the best ability is availability. If you ain't available, then you can't help my team. Now he
correct, Phil. Two things, both are correct.
And you know what?
Guys just go. I think go back. I think go back further than that, run. And I'm gonna go. When was the last time we seen the multi-sport player? When we came up, although I may have specialized in football, I still played basketball. I still played baseball. Now it seems like parents, you get these kids on this one track, and you just riding the dog out of them to the point when they get in high school. Hey, I'm tired of playing. Q, you're a prime example. You got tired of playing in high school. You played football from 5 years old to what? 10th grade?
9th grade.
9th grade, you tired. You don't think that plays a factor? I know B get the head on the show. You don't think that plays a factor?
That depends on the sport. Playing football and then playing on offensive line for that long, and then that depends on the sport, and that depends on who the coach is too. So the coach I had at Hillcrest, who like I said, now coaches at Greenville, I still don't like him. He's a beneficiary of having good teams.
I don't think Bell like him too much neither. But what do you think about that, Bell? You don't think the multi-player, the multi-sports is a bad thing, or you think they should centralize on one?
You want me to be honest? And here's my straight up opinion. It's sad to me. It's back in the day, most of our parents, if we wanted to play and try, our parents allowed us. I call it the Kobe dream. They want their kid to be, and you see it more.
Dang.
Oh, I think he jumped out. Go ahead, think about that, Ron. You think the multi sport had an effect?
I think one of the things about playing multiple sports is that you learn a level of dexterity in different sports. The skills and the skill sets that you got to use to play baseball is different. The skill sets that you have to use to play basketball is different. The skill sets that you have to use to play football is different. I think all of that makes you a better all-around athlete, and I think it helps you. I think
the downside to that, and that's your player may get injured playing one sport and they're playing that for the fun of it. For example, down here in Morris, there are girls who are on a basketball team and on a volleyball team, and they got hurt playing volleyball, and now they can't play basketball when they're there for basketball in the first place. So if you're there for basketball, then you get hurt playing volleyball, and now you out. And now not only you out for a season, now you done lost eligibility too because you did play the sport the first time. Yeah, it
was only a handful of players that on the high college level, pro level, that I can remember. I mean, maybe a handful they can go play professional sports, 2 sports at the higher level. I can only think of a couple.
There are some now. Josh Green from the Houston Rockets, he was a 5-star athlete in basketball and football. He just chose basketball.
Right.
Andy Edwards the same way. 5-star athlete in both. He chose basketball. Kyler Murray got drafted, but he chose football.
Well, I guess I rephrase. I know a lot of them cats played 3 sports in college, but to be able to play 2 sports on a professional level, it's only a handful that I've seen do that. That's beyond
they make you
bold.
choose. They make you choose though. Like that's one of the reasons. Like, say for instance, the kid Nicholas Harbor that went to University of South Carolina, right?
Mm-hmm.
Harbor wanted to run track, but he also wanted that bag too. The God dang, what they call it? The UIL. NIL. I'm sorry, thank you, Q. And so with the NIL, he was able to get a little bit of money, man. I think he getting $300,000, man. That thing was, I was like, good God Almighty.
That money.
That was that's serious bread, man. And so I'm sitting here thinking, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I'm sitting here thinking about, like, I was like, well, why did he choose that particular university? And I know why. And he's gonna run track too. So he's gonna potentially be an Olympic athlete as well as a world-class or a decent football player, man, if they find a position for him.
Okay. Hey, Beth, finish your thought. We're gonna move on, but I know you got cut off in mid thought. Finish your finish your thought.
Oh, I was just basically saying, it's just, I just feel like a lot of it is on parents right now. They're pushing their kids from, when they feel like the kid is excelling in an area, especially when it comes to basketball. You see it from top to bottom in the kids' gear. I kind of tripped out. I went to a couple of rec games this year, and I'm watching the kids walk in. They from head to toe. One kid looked like he had on about $2,000 worth of gear, and I'm like, man, this is crazy to me. I don't understand. From the knee pads to the arm sleeves to everything. I'm like, dude, it's just reg ball.
Yeah, I think money coming on change the whole.
And I get it. Everybody looking for their day, but when we came on, it happened, but it happened so I don't want to say innocently. It was more. It was raw. It was special the way we went through things and how things happen. Now it's just a push. That's my biggest gripe with sports in a general from a general base, is that on the professional level, when it comes to basketball, the game it's like the game is being punished. I'm watching kids play a grown man's sport. I can't imagine these guys, anybody in the league right now playing with let alone Mike or Charles or Carl. I can't imagine these guys playing with these kids. With those are men. Those are men that twist the knee swell up to the size of a watermelon, but you see them playing the next night. And you just said it early in our agenda, we were talking about load management. I never heard of the word until a couple of years ago. When did you take off games to rest? You know what I'm saying? You paid to play a job. I mean, you paid to play. So now it's like people just taking a rest and everything,
Right. Any response to that? Can you want to respond, or bro, you want to respond?
I think there's a difference between load management and sitting out because you got a watermelon in your knee. There's a difference between load management and just playing for sake of stupidity and pride, because that's how I'm supposed to play. No, there is life after basketball. Otherwise, you playing with a whole golf ball on your knee now, and then you rolling around in a wheelchair at 49. Because
what about that, Ron?
Hey man,
I believe in hard work.
What was you saying, Bear?
What you saying, B? I can't hear him.
Yeah,
he's in and out his mic.
The biggest thing for me, man, with load management is, I think LeBron is a unicorn in the sense that, man, 20 years, little to no injuries in terms of like significant or major.
I got something to add on that afterwards.
So what?
I got something to add on to that afterwards. You continue.
him being so unique in the way that he's able to maintain his body and do a lot of things that he's doing is different. And you see how much of a freak of nature he is versus some of the other guys that are part of that league. You know, Chris Bosh gone, Dwayne Wade gone. Some of those other guys that were a part of that class are really kind of struggling. And a lot of them who changed their diets are still around. Chris Paul struggles, but at the same time, well, I ain't going to say struggles, but he's had, you know, a bevy of injuries in relationships to playoffs because his body wears down. Once he changed his diet, it got a lot better. I think the food and nutrition has been able to help a lot of these players maintain and do a lot better than what they've done in the past. So shout out to all of them making those changes. I just think it's hard to say, man, because there's a lot of life after basketball. And if you look at, like, Shaq is doing a lot better in terms of because he lost the weight. But if you look at some of the other guys, a smaller guy like Kenny, you can tell sometimes he gets stiff when he tries to move.
But he got some bad feet and bad knees, boy.
That's bad, bro. That's just like when I think about it, when I be talking,
bad, boy.
But that's from playing on hard top, you know. And I think that's part of. I think that's part of what's hitting me. Like, you get the hard top, you playing basketball on concrete, and you don't think about it when you're young. You just do it. It's what you do. But
82 game season, is that too long?
To me, it is, because the season is 9 months.
Yeah, bro. yeah.
Hey, you gotta think about it back to back. It's 9 months, but it's a level of endurance that you have to play. Like, even with baseball, is 162
games. That's a lot. There's
not a lot of more like continuous, like strenuous work with baseball, unless you're the catcher, and you're squatting 100 games, at least 100 games.
It's a grind mentally, though, because you got to think about it.
Yeah, mentally, that is mentally, though.
If you, like, I remember Albert Bell's mother saying something was real powerful. She said, man, if you're a perfectionist and you can only 1 or 3 is good, 70% of the time you failing.
Yeah.
70% of the time you failing. So it's got to be mentally a grueling thing to play like that many games. But that was my first love to a certain degree. Like, I love baseball.
Me too. I think all of that. We love baseball. I love playing baseball too.
I'm gonna watch Morris play baseball after this is over.
But would you want to jump in, Q? You trying to jump in early? What you gonna say?
Yeah, I think another reason why there's a lot of low management now is because nowadays, as far as basketball goes, there's so much. People have put so much less into what players do in the regular season. Now, and you said LeBron. Start with LeBron. LeBron could have the best regular season. Jokic about to have 3. Is on his way to 3rd straight regular season MVP. Ball anyone says, well, what are you going to do in a postseason? When you got veteran playing the regular season itself, people don't care. Well, a lot of fans don't care about it anymore because they care because y'all put so much emphasis on rings. If a lot of people didn't put so much, if the argument wasn't always Jordan has 6 rings or so-and-so has this many rings and focus on what are you doing in the regular season, players will play more because they know they're being appreciated in the regular season, not what they do in the last 2 months of the season.
Right. Okay. That's understood. I get my thing with low management is he playing too many games? So what's the argument? No, let's take the argument I hear on TV all the time. You got fans who buy tickets to see these players play, and when they come to the arena, they're not playing. Is that really an issue? Or is that, I know for me, just going to the game, have a good time. Now, granted, I would love to see the best play, but going to enjoy the game was the key. Is that really an argument? Saying,
for those kids who probably went to a game, if kids who went to go see Damian Lillard the other night, but he sat because it was a rest game for him. Or maybe a kid in LA wanted to go see Kawhi play, but Kawhi, it was a rest day for him. For the kid, yeah, that makes sense. But for some of for adults and late teenage years, a lot of times you're going for the atmosphere or because you actually enjoy basketball. And even a lot of those adults and those older teens are going to say, "Oh yeah, the game was fun, but what are you going to do in the postseason?" The minute people stop putting so much emphasis on the finished product and just enjoying the ride to it, is when players will play more regular season games.
Okay, so what Adam Schiff was asked about load management, I don't think he saw too big of an issue. I think he was kind of cool. I think what he said, I don't want you to suggest there is a magic bullet here, Silver said. I do think that it's just about incentivizing players to play more, that the teams are as much a part of the load management as players are. Because again, I think we're being in a societal shift. Everything's about winning the championship these days, and less about less and championship these days, and it's less. I think it's all about sports and about the performance.
You know how much it means less. LeBron broke the most points in NBA history. Might reach 40,000. There's a strong possibility he reaches 40,000 if he keeps playing. And the topic was, did he pass Jordan? And then the response was no, because Jordan was a better scorer and had 6 rings. Enjoy what they're doing in the regular season and enjoy them now instead of worrying about the finished product. Because you're worrying about the finished product, you're going to miss what you're seeing. We're missing greatness now because they want to compare it because LeBron's 4 and 6. You're missing what he's doing because you're worried about the end goal.
Oh, you got anything to say with that, Ron?
Man, the larger issue is this, man. People minimize the regular season because the athletes minimize it. Every game and position is not the same. I think it's really coming down to, like say, for instance, LeBron talked about the last 20 games of this season is going to be probably the most important stretch because he doesn't want to miss back-to-back playoffs. I think at points of times teams coast and they look at teams and they see on their roster, see on their schedule, there's games that they can just barely show up and win. And so I think the lack of competition is directly related to the lack of emphasis placed on regular season games. It's too many of them. That's why the NFL is a lot more competitive. If you look at it, you can't stand to lose one game or take a game off. If you take a game or two off, hell, man, you in the hole. You know. So I think it's the number of games, and I think it's the the lack of awareness. And I think I really don't start watching basketball. I might watch it Christmas Day, because that's what's on. But I really don't start watching basketball till March Madness, April, May. And being at Georgetown is horrible right now. I don't. I keep up with my Wizards though.
Yeah, I normally watch the pro bar around All-Star break. That's
kind of the point I was making. A lot of people, the fans who say I came here to support you, don't care to watch the games until around this time. All-Star break them past. Now they care. But they act like you're supposed to act like the player's supposed to care when the fans who tell them to care don't care either.
You got the last word on it.
Then you don't care.
Right. You got the last word, Bell. What do you clean it? You finish it up. You got the last word.
My question would be this. My question would be to you and RJ, more or less of just going back in the day, watching NBA and the NBA and whatnot. We ran to the television when certain matchups was on. We wanted to see certain matchups. The games were, to me, the games serve more purpose. Not necessarily serve more purpose. It's just that the games are more exciting. Like now, when it comes to TNT or what ESPN puts out, I look at what's online to be shown, and if it's no interest there, I'm just like, whatever, it's gone. And I'm one that grew up loving basketball, but I'm looking at it now like I can let that pass. That's boring or whatnot. I mean, to be
I think
honest,
that's just marketing.
I hear them. I hear them say the league is better and all that, but I'm just gonna be honest. You know, it depends on who you're polling. If you ask me, if you're asking kids born in the 2000s, then the game is better. But if you ask anybody that's I say from 98 back, the game is worse. Not in good
Okay.
position. It's
And
not a good like. Here I am. I'm 51 years old, and I love basketball, but I would never, until the game get better, I won't spend another dime on an NBA basketball game because it's all the same. And then it comes in with the load management. If I'm paying, especially if I have a nephew or someone with me who wants to see a certain player, I'm not gonna take the risk of them just taking the night off just for fun, just because they want to chill or they want to rest. I don't think it's fair. I think
I think the NFL
you're
got. I
paying
think
these
the NBA.
guys.
Say again.
You think what now?
I think
I
the
just
NBA
I just
do
think they
gotta. I
paying
think
them.
they do gotta address it.
I think the NBA needs to market their players more. You have a player that's possibly going to win this third straight MVP, but you don't see a commercial about him. Let me see if I go to ESPN right now. Let me see if he's on. Let me see if he's on front page or anything. No, I go to
No,
ESPN. I don't see
In my
anything
opinion,
on
you know why
Jokic.
that
I don't see
happened?
anything on
hold
Embiid.
up, hold up, guys. We can't hear. What you say, Bell? What you say? What you say?
I
The
was
reason
saying,
why the reason why the
okay,
league is not marketing Jokic because they never wanted him to win the MVP. They never wanted him to win that award. That award. He's not a marketable guy for them, but he's winning it, and it's like, but what league are you winning in? Because and guys, I know I'm old fashioned. Forgive me. I'm stuck in a way a game should be played. But I look at him now, take him out of this area and insert him in the past, and dude is nowhere near close to MVP. But not. He's not. That game
Okay, that
now
we're gonna put a
now
button on it. Say one. We
it
say,
wasn't
Bell.
it was an advantage.
Okay, I
Huh?
think you.
I think the
I just think
only reason he wins because
like I
how
said,
the game's played now without
they
these
never
competitors.
intended to be a winner. They never.
I do believe the NBA have a certain person who they want to be the face of the league. I don't know if Joker that person or not, but what we're gonna do, we're gonna continue to keep an eye on it. I think we do need a man. I think we need to keep an eye on the load management and see where it leads. Hopefully, kind of make the game a little better, or may need to kind of shorten it up. But we're gonna switch gears a little bit. I know football season over with. No. Before we get to the XFL rules, I do want to get to this gentleman in Alabama, the basketball player in Alabama who actually, if I'm not mistaken, brought his homeboy his piece, and the homeboy used it in a murder, but they still allow him to play, brother Brandon Miller. They still allow him to play. He actually led the team. Whoever want to jump in. Do you think it was right for him to play or not to play, or does he
Okay,
it doesn't
so
matter?
what happened was how the story is told, especially from his perspective. When they picked him up to go to a party, he didn't know it was in there. He was just driving back, and it happened to be in the car. And the reason why nothing happened to him, because like I said, he probably didn't know it was back there. He left. He told the story, what happened. There's camera footage showing he didn't do anything wrong. So that's why there's camera footage and proof of showing that he did nothing wrong at all. Or if he did anything wrong, it wasn't to his knowledge.
Jump on there, B. Nothing to
Just
see.
an undisciplined kid. Just an undisciplined kid. Has gotten away with probably than what we see now. This is serious. They're gonna ride with, and meaning they're the school and in the city of Birmingham, not Birmingham, where Alabama is. They're gonna ride with. He didn't know it was in there, but at Tuscaloosa. But at the end of the day, the kid was involved in something that he shouldn't have been involved in, and he should be facing some type of charges. That's at the end of the day. After I read it and looked at it, yeah, we can't keep just smacking kids on the hand and whatnot. And these kids gotta make better decisions, man. Way better decisions.
What's your thoughts on the audience? Should he be charged? Should he play?
I don't ever want another young male to be charged, because that's not my thing. But at the same time, if he's guilty, let the jury find him guilty. My concern is the decision making. I'm on bear with that tip, and I can honestly say I've been in a situation where I've made some dumb decisions as a young adult, and I could have been in the same circumstance or situation this young man was in on multiple occasions. I'm just thankful that I was able to navigate those situations, and God had favor on me, man. God had favor on me. Yeah, God had favor on me, because I wanted to. Yeah. There's a couple of times I wanted to put my gun on people, and or address situations in a certain way, and it just so happens that it didn't happen. So I'm thankful.
But that's not what he did. The only thing he did was he went back to pick him up, and the gun happened to be in the back seat. That's what he did. He wasn't involved in that situation at all. Besides that,
man, listen. One thing you gotta understand is you're judged by the company you keep. A good friend of mine, man, I love him. We talked about this the other day. I said, man, some of the things that he went through in terms of his circumstances, he had grace and dispensation to deal with. Like, God, that was his cross. It wasn't mine to bear. However, man, listen. When you go through a situation where your friend does something that the
friend was on the basketball team. That is his company. The dude that shot him and asked him to pick him up was on the basketball team, and he got kicked off.
The thing that I'm saying to you is this: you have to watch the company that you keep, and that's a central part of just being a person. You got to watch him bringing a weapon to his friend. In all true honesty, I was just put in that situation maybe about 2.5, 3, but no, probably 2.5, 3 years ago. One of my friends had an issue with his mate and asked me to bring my gun. And I thought about it. I said, nah, man, I'm not doing that, man. What's going on with you? And we started talking. And then after we started talking, I was able to talk him down and really kind of get him to a different type of space. And it's been in situations where, like, man, I didn't almost make it to Winston-Salem State, because I was ready to catch a murder one beef for something that my friend did. They stomped this dude out, broke his ribs, literally hurt him bad. And it wasn't that I did. I didn't put not one hand on that man, but I lived with him. So when they come back blazing to get my friend, they're gonna discriminate. They're gonna get me too. So you got to be careful about the company you keep. And that was going to prompt me to go get him before he got me. So I think the thing that we got to understand, we're not teaching young people how to strategically think anymore. That's not a part of our educational system. That's not a part of aspects of things that we're doing in our families and our lives. Heck, we were supposed to be here earlier yesterday. You know what happened? Ron got mad and punched somebody in the nose and bust his nose.
Ron Jr., yeah.
And so I'm sitting here thinking like, yo, bro, you got to think before you do. And I didn't. My mother-in-law was like, don't kill him. I'm like, nah, I ain't get him yesterday because he's getting older. But and I'm here in the beach and they at home. But I got to think of some way to actively address that issue. So that's been spinning in my mind, because I have to teach them how to be a thinking man. And our young people don't think as much.
So this is my thing. I don't think he did anything. I wouldn't necessarily do anything illegal, But I'm with you. I mean, and I guess we cut from an older cloth. Some point in time, you gotta be responsible for what you're doing and what you have around you. Like I tell Mike, keep your head on a swivel. If you in that car, you know it's a gun in that car.
I don't think he knew.
I'm bound to believe if he hang around that guy the way he hang around that guy, he done saw that gun before. The gun he didn't just purchase the gun the same day and hid it in the car. If we don't know. No, what I'm saying is association bring on simulation. If you know the crew you roll with.
Hey, that's
you know the crew you roll with. You know the crew you roll with. I know the crew I roll with. I knew when I was in college and I hung with them football players, hung with Ron and Lowston. I knew that thing go sideways. it's gonna go all the way sideways. I knew when we're growing up with me, Bear, and Fats, we one the other partner always carry a little something to keep us, but I knew we wasn't scrapped like that. So we get all the kids, we gotta be able to talk our way out that thing. so you gotta know, and if he didn't know, he gotta know. And so the bottom line is I don't think he should have played, not because of legal reasons, but because of teaching points, teachable moments. And now, if that would have happened in the NFL or the National Basketball Association, oh no, he wouldn't have played, buddy. Cause now they're gonna say you knew the gun was in the car you were driving, so there would have been a different.
But you know what though?
Actually, no, I would disagree because I'm pretty sure the NCAA is a lot harsher on that. The Imani Bates, number one player with the Memphis, he got cut from Memphis for a similar situation. They took a scholarship, couldn't go play there. Now he's up in East Michigan.
You go back and ask Pleasant Gold Birds. There is no interest of the law now. Pleasant Gold Birds would carry a gun in New York City, whereas in New York City there was definitely a charge. Whereas he from Virginia Beach, where he could ride around with his gun in his lap, he had no problem. He don't mess around try to self the leg, and still had to do 2 years for doing it. But not knowing your surroundings.
15 years ago.
But it's still know your surroundings. I mean, still knowing where you at and what you're doing is extremely important. Go ahead, B.
Here's what's scary with me. This situation with this young man. Then I look at the other situation at USC in Columbia, where the 3 guys get suspended, lose scholarships and all over a handgun, and I mean we could never. They can't be under supervision 24 hours a day. We get that. But at some point, and this is why I hold the school, the coaches, and everybody accountable. You gotta lay it down. You gotta be that. This is what's accepted, and this is what's not accepted. But in today's society, and so much, a lot of these coaches are looking at the wins. And one wins and what the product that he can put on the floor or the field, and they're not willing to touch their roster. Then if they can get over it or get through it, they're not willing to touch it.
Yeah.
And just with the USC situation, I'm looking at it, man. I'm looking at it from a young man that's a year away from going to a Power 5. That's what. And what's scary to me is, And my words to him is, hey, boy, go to school, act like you're at home. I might not be there. And I understand you're an adult. You're a young adult. But check this out. If you didn't do it when I was there and I was present, you better act like I'm present now. Because now you're playing with big time. Now you're moving into the area of you're shaping and molding your life and whatnot. And some of these kids, and it kind of goes to what even Shannon Sharp was kind of saying to John Morant. Sit your butt down. You ain't tough. You're not tough at all. All that's aside. Sit down. Who cares? I mean, these guys don't understand when you get to a certain level and you're about to put your name on that line. I don't care if it's for $10 million. Sit down somewhere.
Yeah. You got last word on it, Ryan.
But you know what though? I think the one thing that's really tough, man, honestly, it's a dirty game. And when I say it's a dirty game, Ja's in Memphis. Memphis rap scene is hot now. Like it's banging. Yo Gotti, Finesse 2 times. Dolph just was, killed, assassinated, but they put some bangers out. Glorilla is from Memphis. They putting out some serious music. And what has happened is, you know how music and sports have like a coexistence. That coexistence with rap, some of those guys want to adopt the personalities of those cats. And you can't, man, he can't be Pooh Shiesty. Pooh Shiesty called himself doing what he was doing and end up getting time. I reflect on like Yo Gotti, Moneybagg Yo, and the love that he has for those artists, man. He has to be careful, man. You can't live that life they live. Hell, some of them don't need to live the life that they live.
I remember we were watching during the Biggie and Puffy was talking. He said, Biggie, you could talk about selling drugs on the street, but you can't talk about it, do it, and rap it. You can't make money on both ends. You got to choose one side of the fence you gonna play on now. One last word, Quinn. We'll switch to the SSFL. But I did you close it out?
Specifically with Ja, we're all assuming that that's not what he was like before he got to Memphis. That's what everyone's assuming. That's not what type of time he was on before. Now, if that's the type of time he was on before, and then he made it, okay, then yeah, maybe chill out with it. But it's assuming that he was never like that in the first place. When you assume something like that from anybody, that's the moment when some bad can happen to everybody involved.
I agree with that. You don't want to assume, but we do see a lot of times. We do see a lot of times when a lot of people take on the persona of what our culture, besides it being fashionable or rich. But that's a different conversation. But let's move on.
One more thing.
One more thing. We're gonna move on now.
One last thing. Just one.
Okay.
It's just one. If because he's in Memphis, he's letting now that influences him, then Ben Simmons should have been a much better shooter than he has now, considering he's been in Philadelphia and in Brooklyn. He should be.
Well, yeah, but we don't want to start that line with Ben Simmons. We'll be on another 15 minutes. He better make our bust the list of talents that didn't quite mature. So we don't want to talk about Ben too much. I don't know. Different breed of player, guys. It's a different breed of player than the NBA. We're gonna leave it at that. Switching gears a little bit, I know for the National Football League is over, but they do have the XFL league, a supplemental. I won't say supplemental league, but it's supposed to be a league that was developed by WWE Wrestling. But I think now, Brother Rock, the Rock done took over and had made some changes. Q, what are some of the rules of this new league?
There it is. So they do have extra points are not by kickoff. So I mean, not by just kicking the ball to the uprights. No, you go for it from the 2-yard line. You make it. That's 1 point. You go for it from the 5-yard line. You get 2 points. You go for it from the 10-yard line. You get 3 points. Which that actually helped one of the first games. That actually helped the team that came back from what should have been a 3-possession deficit to a 1-possession deficit, because you basically get 9 points off a touchdown and then 3-point conversion. Kickoffs, instead of how NFL you kick off and everyone runs down, cause all types of injuries. You kick off. There's a line on the opposite 30, 35-yard line. And no one can move until the return man gets the ball. Once he gets the ball, it's basically like offensive line, defensive line, block like normal kickoff. They also have a double forward pass, which is basically similar to when you throw it to the receiver, he throws it down, trick play. But instead of it having to be behind the line, it can be in front. It can be in front of the line as long as it's behind the line of scrimmage. So go back to onside kickoff. That's not a thing anymore. Instead, you go 4th and 15 from your 25, and you can only do that in the fourth quarter. And if you make it, if you get it, you get the ball back. If not, the other team gets it. Which apparently statistically, it's easier to convert a 4th and 15 than an onside kick.
Right. So
there's one more overtime rule,
right?
Well, there's an overtime rule too. And instead of the overtime rule the NFL has, for XFL in overtime, you get an attempt from the opponent's 5-yard line, and you get 3 attempts to score. Kind of like how college does it, except from the 5-yard line.
So we got
and instant replay. You can hear that immediately sends it up to the man in the sky, and you hear them talking about what they're seeing and what they're doing, which is a lot better than in the NFL, where we are looking at the screen and we're conversating from on the couch. But in XFL, you hear what they're talking about, what they're seeing. Oh, they'll go say, okay, I see 1 foot down. Let's see if we can get a different camera angle. You hear that, so you know what's going on, instead of you're sitting back on the couch. You see the play happen, but now you're trying to figure out, okay, what did y'all see? They literally tell you what they're seeing.
Okay, so those are some of the highlights of the rules. Right now, we had a couple of teams, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 7 teams, which is the Arlington Renegades, which is coached by Bob Stoops. You got the DC Defenders. They're coached by Reggie Barlow. The Houston Roughnecks. Who came up with that name? Oh, that came by brother.
Roughnecks that's basically what they used to do in the oil fields. That's what they call themselves.
Okay, the Houston. Okay, cool. That's Wade Phillips. Orlando Guardians. That's Tara Buckley. He played in the league, didn't he? Tara Buckley played in the league.
Yeah, T-Buck played with a couple of teams in the league. From Florida State. Yeah, from Florida State.
You got the San Antonio Brahmas.
Bull. Like a bull.
The Brahma Bull. Okay, the Hines Ward's team, they coaching that squad. The Seattle Sea Dragons. Jim Haslett, that's a familiar name. St. Louis, but I don't know it has a familiar name. I don't know.
Every time I hear Jim Haslett, I think about stupid Steve Spurrier talking about some. Yeah, Jim Haslett. He works this. I won't be doing that. Steve was a beast, boy.
Yeah, the old ball coach, that boy there. You got St. Louis Battlehawks. Anthony Bitchett, the coach. I'm not familiar with him. And you have the Vegas Vipers, which is coached by Rod Wilson. Hey, what you think? Is this a good supplement? I know it's not the National Football League, but is it a good supplement quickly? Is it a good supplemental league? Do you think it has the gravitas to stay around? What do you think, RJ?
I don't know. The jury's out for me. I haven't watched the game. I have to really sit down and take a look at it and see the quality of football, because I tried to buy into the XFL last time and it was canceled. So we'll see, man. You know, it's a process.
What's your thoughts be on the SFL?
Yeah, I mean, I'm willing to give anything a try now, because I've been experiencing that during the Pro Bowl.
Oh,
I don't know, man. I'm just disappointed. Man, I'm old-fashioned, boy. But sports at the end time. I'm disappointed all the way around. I looked at the NBA All-Star game, disappointed. Pro Bowl, I was disappointed. I mean, it's, give me something, man. I feel like it was just, it's too animated or something. I don't know. But
well, you think I know you look, huh? You what now? Say it would be
just as far as like getting me over to the NFL spot. I think it may be able to carry me, but I don't know. I'm not gonna rush home to see a game.
Right. What you think, you don't seem love football. You think this gonna hold us over?
Yes, it will. And all it takes is for someone to sit down and watch the game. Because football fans are gonna watch football. Football fans will watch football. Whether it's your nephew playing for you with the flag, whether it's your cousin's son playing 8U with the 2 big jerseys and 2 big helmet, to high school, to college, to pro. If you like football and you see football on, you're gonna watch football. And a lot of these players, they're players that you know of. I have already claimed my team. I'm with the St. Louis Battlehawks, and people down here and around the SEC area, you know, AJ McCarron. He's the quarterback for the Battlehawks. There's people who are in the NFL. Josh Gordon, who got kicked out of the NFL, who should be in the NFL, but he can't stop smoking. He is on the Vipers, I think. He had a touchdown week 1. You say they got head coach. Yeah, head coach used to play in the NFL. You got Hines Ward. You got there's players there's players in the XFL who could have a roster spot in the NFL. There's players in the NFL who should be in the NFL who should have a roster spot in the XFL.
Okay. Well,
last word. All the rules, the presentation. You can have a player score a touchdown and he's getting interviewed right on the field right then. Then you have quarterbacks who are mic'd up. If anyone knows who Paxton Lynch is, I remember seeing a highlight of this. You hear him drop. You hear him call the play. You hear him drop back. You see him throw it. He throws a pick, but you hear him like immediately say, "Oh, I didn't see him." Throws a pick. It's little things like presentation that will gravitate, and probably that the NFL will take, because NFL took a lot of stuff from the XFL the first time, like that sky cam. The sky cam that NFL has came from the XFL the first time.
I can see a lot of improvements from what Vince had. If Vince had it too show me girly, too flashy. But I do see a lot of innovation going on in the SFL. Last word from anybody before we wrap it up for the day?
I would say the XFL would be more popular if it didn't start literally a month before COVID happened.
Right.
It was gaining steam. It was like in week 6. It was gaining steam, and then the world shut down.
Okay, RJ, anything else?
Nah, man, I'm good.
B, last word. Oh, I guess he did. Well, guys, hey, great show, great information. Please check out our podcast. We will be uploading it soon. You can also check us out on Over the Top Facebook page. And again, guys, may your next move be the game changer. Good night.